TJ, how are you, sir?
Hey, brother, I'm sorry I'm late, man. I'm having some technical difficulties on this
You're never
end,
late.
with my tablet, so I'm using my cell phone right now. But I'm doing great.
You're never
How
late,
you guys
man.
doing?
We're great. You're never late. You're always on time. Aaron Matus with us, formerly of multiple TV stations,
That's
but
right.
he's an IU grad. He was a former sports director in television, a sports anchor, and now working in the college athletics into the business. What's going on with you, though, man?
Hey, man, listen, man. Down here in South Florida, we've had a very, very chilly past few days.
I don't want to hear that. First of all, I don't want to hear any of that crap. We got
it is what
from the top of Indiana up to 15 inches of snow coming down to ice at the bottom. So I don't want to hear about being chilly. I was down there in the Orlando area last week, so It did get a little chilly, but it was not. Yeah, I don't want to hear all about that. It's people, Florida people complaining about. Oh, I got to put a jacket on. Daggone it.
Well, if it's any consolation to you, it will be 82 degrees today.
Yeah, well,
it's
not.
Well, thoughts and prayers down there with that
cold
weather.
I hope you make it through. It doesn't hope that doesn't
82.
hypothermia doesn't or get over heat exhaustion, all that business. Man, Indiana football. Losing another coach, Delon McCullough heading up to Notre Dame. First of all, no one can. You cannot blame someone for leaving to go to Notre Dame. That is just. It is what it is, and that is it's Notre Dame. Someone asked me something last night. I said, "Well, I said, no." I said, "Here's what it is. It's Notre Dame. You can stop right there. There's no way." I'm sorry if you're an IU football fan, but if that's just a step up, it is what it is, man, until it's not. And so if he wants to be a head coach, there's no way that having Notre Dame on your resume is going to hurt or not help more than in having Indiana on your resume. I got to be honest.
Right. And I'm always happy to see coaches and players alike progress in their respective careers. I'm sure it was a career and a business decision. My only thing now is that, with all of these changes and portals and, is there going to become a coach's portal next? But then we may lose his kid to Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the other
at least right now they've reaffirmed their commitments to Indiana, both of them, which is good.
Right.
But does that change? But does that change?
Yeah, for a while.
That's the problem.
They have to. Well, they have to. They have signed letters of intent.
Right.
So they, and probably not going to play the first year at Notre Dame anyway. So you wouldn't be losing anything if you stayed. But Day is still, I think, has another year or 2 more years of high school.
Hey,
I think Day's just a sophomore, isn't he?
Here's my question to both of you. You mentioned signed letter of intent. What is that nowadays? It means nothing.
Well, no, that one still holds some juice, I think, for a year.
He could sign today and transfer tomorrow.
I don't know that you can. Can you?
They need to come up with, and that's coming. I think it's pretty agreed upon that there needs to be a window that kids can transfer in. But I do think that will come, because you can't just have.
Of course, it will.
A football player.
You can't have the wild west on one side and
decide that, I'm playing at IU, but Jeff Brom just told me I got a spot, and just head up to West Lafayette the next week.
And this is a whole different, completely situation where it involves your father.
Right.
That's kind of like in high school, actually moving to a different school, or trying to transfer to play for your father. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to say that's illegitimate.
And I'll throw this back at you, Jim, a little bit. I completely hear what you're saying, but I don't blame IU fans for taking the news harshly, because
of course not.
It just looks and feels different when your coaching staff gets poached under the current circumstances than as opposed to after winning seasons. And you can kind of say, hey, best of luck to you. I get it. It's great when Tom Allen's got a tree of coaches that are being taken because we're winning. But when we don't particularly run the ball all that well, there's some, behind the scenes chatter about the offensive line coach and whether or not he should stay. And then in February, 2 days before signing day, your coach leaves to go to Notre Dame. It just, there's some different factors that make this one hurt, that go a little deeper than just understanding like, oh, I get it. You want to go coach at Notre Dame. That does make sense on the surface, but there's reasons why this one burns a bit.
Well, yeah, let's don't and let's don't hide it. We're talking about the fact that Darren Hiller was retained after Indiana had just an abysmal year again on the offensive line with everybody coming back. You had all the personnel back, so they were expected to be one of the most consistent and counted on units, and they were the opposite of that. The running game was non-existent, basically. Maybe it was because of that. Passing game, you got quarterbacks getting hurt left and right because they weren't being protected.
All systems failure.
No change whatsoever. And fans were upset. And rumors are that some coaches were upset, but that's rumors. I don't know that. I have not heard that from a coach, but if I were a coach, I got to tell you, I'd be pissed if I was coaching a position that relied on this position and it's not workable. So I don't know that there's truth to it, but there's rumors about it, as Aaron talked about. And is there some truth to that? I don't know. The only person that would answer that would be DeLon McCullough. And I promise you one thing, he is never going to say, I left Indiana because of that.
That's my favorite thing to do with the rumors is when I say things like, well, I don't want to speculate, but let me go ahead and speculate.
Well, I can tell you right now, I was in that locker room many moons ago. I've been in the sport. I'm gonna tell you right now, we need to get better control of what's going on in Indiana, because if you looking at this thing, it's getting taken away. Yes, we're implementing new coaches, but listen, new system. Okay, some players have graduated, transfer portal. Listen, man, Coach Allen, I love him to death, man, and I'm a proponent, a diehard proponent. We have to get better control of the locker room, and we've got to get better control of with our coaching situation, because now we've got 3 new coaches with 3 new ideas, trying to implement that into a program that doesn't have time. We don't have time to wait 2 years to get this thing together. We got to get it together this year in 2022.
I couldn't agree more, because I feel like when you're Indiana football right now, with the momentum they created for a few years, I mean, just look at the national narrative last year when they struggled. You could hear it. People being like, they're back to being Indiana again. And,
it was a fluke. It was a fluke.
Right.
Fluke
and that undercurrent, I talked to Mike McIntyre, formerly at CU, who just took the job at FIU. And he had a great quote that I've always kind of stuck with when he was recruiting at Colorado, because they had a good couple of years and started getting some players. And he said, it's so hard to battle the recruiting undercurrent, things you can't control. And what his example was, I'm recruiting a kid, I've got a good rapport going, but he goes home and his uncle says, you're going to go play at Colorado? Why are you going to play at Colorado? And you have to turn that around with some success on the field, make it cool to go to your school, to impact that undercurrent. And to DJ's point, that recruiting undercurrent is starting to flow back to the negative side for IU after a 2-win season. And if they don't turn it around this year, it's going to be, the same old when it comes to playing for Indiana again. They got to get it right this year. They got to turn it around.
DJ, another change that's coming. Tom Allen will go back to calling the defensive plays. And I can only assume that's because he doesn't have confidence in the guy who was named DC to do that. I understand why, because I looked at his resume. I see defensive line coach on there for about 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
but I only see DC at one little stint somewhere. So it doesn't have experience in that regard. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't think fans have a problem with Tom Allen calling the plays because they kind of missed that. But and I asked Tom about this, but the head coach is the guy who he's got to be thinking 2 plays, 3 plays ahead all the time, clock management, situations, all this stuff. You got all this stuff that you've got to be paying attention to. But you need help. But that's an area Indiana has not thrived under during Tom's time. I'd say, late game clock management has been an issue. The bowl game. So there's been some different times, but he's going to have various people have other responsibilities, which is, I guess, a good way of doing it. But that's the one thing I'd rather the head coach was really locked in on the entire game.
Well, here's what's going to happen. Coach Allen and the DC that he appointed, they're going to collab, and they're going to scheme obviously before each and every game. But what I like about Coach Allen and what I've always liked about him, he is taking that responsibility and saying, listen, Indiana football, listen, Indiana fans. We had a dismal season last year. I'm not coming back this year making any excuses. I'm the head coach. I'm calling the plays. So if it goes south, it's on my shoulders. And I like that about Tom Allen, that he's doing that. He wants to shoulder that responsibility and take the onus off of the players, which is what a head coach should do, and take the onus off his DC and says, listen, when it's time to point the finger, after week 5 or 6, point it at me.
Yeah, because this next season or two, you will quickly be there for him on his coaching stint. Really,
there ain't no 2 seasons, buddy. This is it. Right?
I do wonder if we make a little bit too big a deal of him calling plays defensively. And I put a lot of thought in it too. But on the other side, I feel like if a head coach calls offensive plays, that's like the norm. No big deal. Oh, he calls the offense. But as soon as Tom Allen steps in and says, "Oh, I'm going to call the defensive play," whoa, can we handle this? Can he do this? But it's pretty normal.
Hey, listen. Every home game, Coach Allen, if you're listening, hey, listen, get your former players involved. I would love to be up there every home game and give these guys a pep talk and let these guys know what it is to leave it on the field and take nothing off. We got to get this thing done, Coach Allen. I'm with you, Coach. I'm with you. I'm retired. I'm available. No charge. I love to come up there and just be a Hoosier proponent every home game.
You should start a company.
Jim, I think you just got your social media clip for the day.
And plus, he just needs to start a company where he wakes people up.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Derrick Jackson. Get up, man. Yeah. It's time to get up and have a great day. I mean, every day, just do a different one every day. It arrives into your phone. Man,
that was better than coffee.
I'm telling you, we've got it going on. I know both of you guys got to get rolling. DJ, you got to get rolling. Thanks a lot do you? Or I think are you sticking around or are you leaving? I can't remember.
Oh no, I'm rolling. I'm rolling next week. Next week when I come back, I'm gonna start sticking around next week, man.
Cool. Go out and have yourselves a nice warm day down there in southern Florida. Enjoy that non-snow and non-sleet that you will not be having.
Absolutely, buddy. I will. I'll send some of that weather up there through the mail, guys.